And welcome back into the Sporting News Studios. I'm Tom Vandervoort with Ryan Fagan, our basketball writer, breaking down the NCAA Tournament region by region and helping you with your Bracket Insanity picks. Bracket Insanity this year brought to us by Subway. We thank them very much for that. And Ryan, the West region, Michigan State, #1 seed. Obviously, they had to win that Big Ten tournament to get that, don't you think?
I think so. You know, you look at what they had to do, and it wasn't just that they needed the resume win. They needed to prove to the committee that they were still a good team without Brandon Dawson. You know, he's a very talented freshman forward who brought a lot of toughness, and when he tore his ACL recently, you kind of wondered if that was going to be the catalyst to knock them off that #1 seed line, if they were going to struggle. You know, the committee always has to take into account injuries and player availability is how they term it. So the fact that they could show that they could still beat a team like Ohio State without him, I think was what clinched it for the Spartans.
And then down at the bottom of the bracket, you have Missouri, a team that, you know, maybe some of us thought would be flirting with that 1 seed, but I guess you're telling me they weren't really in the mix for that at this point.
Yeah, the committee chairman Jeff Hathaway said that, you know, Missouri was actually the #8 seed. They were on the bottom, the back end of the #2 seed line, which, to be honest with you, this surprises me.
Yeah.
You know, you look at Missouri, I know they had a bad non-conference schedule, but they played very well against the teams they did play. You know, they were 4-1 against RPI top 25 teams, 11-3 against RPI top 50 teams, and that's very good against quality competition. You know, all that said, Missouri was looking for a #1 seed. They would have loved to have been in the St. Louis region.
Yep.
But they're #2 out west, and they've actually got a path that lines up. Missouri has one big flaw. They don't have any size inside, or they have very little size inside. The teams that they're going to face, you look at it, you know, they are possibly facing Florida in their second game. Florida's a team that's very similar, guard heavy, not a lot of big post presence, not consistent post presence. You look at Marquette, a potential, the #3 seed they could face down the road. Again, Marquette is a team that's very much like Missouri. They're guard-oriented. And those types of teams Missouri has done very well against this year.
So they should be able to, what are the obstacles for those two teams, the #1 and 2 meeting at the regional final level?
Well, I think, you know, so much we see in the tournament is consistency. You know, you can't have any mental lapses because teams they'll get you. You know, they will. You know, we look at, you know, last year you have UConn, a #3 seed, and Butler, #5 seed in the tournament title game. You'd never expect that. You could have never picked that.
Yeah.
But it's about matchup sometimes, and it's about being, you know, mentally strong the whole way through. You had Butler with a veteran team. You had UConn with Kemba Walker as the leader that pushed them through that. And I think that's what you're going to need to see Michigan State and Missouri meet in that Elite Eight.
You know, we always look for the Cinderella team. Davidson has worn that mantle before. There's no Steph Curry there this year, but they are a very good team. Louisville wins the Big East tournament. You were there. But, you know, they kind of had a so-so run into the tournament. How do you like that matchup in the first round?
You know, Louisville is interesting because they actually, you know, they played such different styles in winning that Big East tournament. Against Marquette, they played a very up-tempo game. They had 50 points at halftime. They had 83 possessions in the game.
What you would think of as like a Rick Pitino type of game.
But then in the last game, you know, Pitino said after the game he was worried about foul trouble and fatigue, so he slowed it down. They had 61 possessions, which a 20-possession swing is huge.
Yeah, that's massive.
They won the game with 50 points, which is how many points they had at halftime
of the previous
Marquette.
Game.
Right. So, you know, you see that that's the versatility that you like. Peyton Siva, the point guard, does a great job with that. On the other hand, you have Davidson. Davidson's a very veteran team. They've got big guys like Jake Cohen, and they've got good veteran guards. And plus, they beat Kansas earlier this year in Kansas City. You know, so they're not going to be afraid to go up against a team that has the label of Big East champion.
Talk to me about the 8-9 game in this region. Memphis, Conference USA, they dominated the conference tournament. Then you got Rick Majerus and St. Louis out there.
I was a little surprised to see Memphis was an 8 seed. I really thought they were going to be in a 6, at the very worst of 7. You know, they've played a very good schedule, and the committee loves to talk about non-conference strength of schedule. Memphis played a very good non-conference strength of schedule. You know, as you said, they rolled through the Conference USA tournament, won games by an average of 25 points, which is not easy to do. They killed Marshall in the title game. They're facing a St. Louis team that's very fundamentally sound. They don't make mistakes. They force you into mistakes. So it's not two completely distinct styles, but they're the styles that don't necessarily match up.
Now, just looking at some of the upset potential in this first round, if you're playing Bracket Insanity and you're looking for an upset to get you some points, which is the most likely one you think in this first round?
I think you're looking at the Davidson game. I think that when you look at the 11-6 game Murray State versus Colorado State. Murray State obviously had the great regular season, lost one time. And plus they're playing that game in Louisville. You know, you don't usually see number 6 seeds get that
like
type
that.
of hometown preference. So
Right.
I think that really makes Murray State a favorite to win that first game.
Excellent. All right, that's our look at the South region. Don't forget to play Bracket Insanity, bracketinsanity.com. You can't blow your bracket in the first round. You pick it round by round. Thanks to Subway for presenting that this year, and we will see you next time from right here.